Welcome to Leading the Follower with your host, Rebecca Benston. Good morning. It's me, Rebecca Benston. I am back, and I'm going to give it a shot today instead of waiting until Friday, because yesterday I attempted to do a podcast, and I think it was about 6 times I started in doing recording and all that, and it just shut down like every time. So I'm not sure what was going on with the platform yesterday, but hopefully today everything is back to normal, and I'm going to. I guess I'm going to find out here in a few minutes. But I wanted to get back to you and do my Monday podcast, even though it is not Monday. Um, just had a few things that I wanted to talk about. One of which I wanted to remind you that you need to stop by the Higher Ground Books and Media shop and check out our new releases. We have a great new book by Joanne Picari Coleman called One Day in May, and it is all about her journal entries for how she was dealing with lung cancer and how she got through all of the difficult times, and just how she used her faith as a guide through that whole process. And it's a great book. I think, take the time to pick that one up and read it. It's very inspiring, and I'm just really happy that she's a part of our family. Um, all you need to do is go over to the shop and pre-order the paperback. You can get the book on Kindle right now, and in a few days it will be available in book form so that you can order a copy for yourself. Um, Hopefully, I will have another new release ready for you in about a week and a half. I know that I have a couple of books on the schedule, and this year I'm kind of trying to take things a little easy. Um, most most of the time, I have at least 2 or 3 titles that are going to be in production in any given month. And since I also work full time at another job to pay the bills, that starts to get a little cumbersome. Having 2 or 3 different books to get out each month. But it's certainly doable if I don't want to have any kind of free time on the outside. And really, at this point in my life, I don't really need a lot of free time. I do enjoy the process of doing the formatting and the cover design and doing everything it takes to put together a book. It's something that I see as more of a hobby than anything. And over the years, I've just really come to enjoy the whole process for each author, especially when we bring a new author on and it's their first time going through that process with us. And I say us being me. I am us. Um, it's just a good feeling to know that someone has entrusted their book to me, and that I can make them happy with the way the finished product looks, and just getting that out there for people to read. Um, so yes, I encourage you to go over to our shop. Look around our website. We have lots of different things over there. We have our audiobooks, which are available through Audible mostly. And we have videos. We have a YouTube channel that I don't really push the YouTube channel much because there's not a lot of video there. There's a lot of converted podcasts and things like that. Um, and from time to time, I will do author interviews and stuff like that just to have video content. But I'm not someone who likes to be on camera, which brings me to my topic for today. In a roundabout way, it kind of brings me to that. I know the other day, um, Sports Illustrated announced that they were going to be laying off everybody on staff, which I think is a bold move on their part. Not sure what the goal is there. Hadn't really had a chance to look into it too much, but I did see something that caused me to think, you know, if this is what we've come to, it's just really sad. Um, Somebody on one of my social media feeds had said that, poor choices in terms of their cover models and things like that had probably led them down the path, which has resulted in needing to cut staff. Um, well, yeah, I guess so. In truth, I've never really understood the draw. I've never really been extremely supportive of the idea that a magazine should be popular simply because they put a certain type of woman on the front of the on the front cover, and and to be objectified in the way that those women are. I just think that's kind of insulting to those of us who don't use our bodies to make a living. Um, and I'm not saying that out of any kind of, I don't know, anger toward the people who are on the covers or anything like that. I think, yeah, it's great if you are built that way and that's what you've got and that's what you need to work with to do your thing. Go for it. But the standard out there that places on the rest of us is a little unfair because there's no real showcase for smart women, strong women, capable women who handle so much all the time. We're reduced down to this "how do you look in a bikini" crap that they put out there, and I'm just really done with that. Um, Even when I was younger and thinner and would have been able to wear a bikini, I didn't want to do that because I'm just not comfortable with that much of me being out there. And I don't know if that's a psychological thing or just a, personal preference, but it's just never been something I wanted people to see. On the other hand, when it comes to writing, I don't mind sharing lots of details about myself and about what I've been through and where I've been. So, I mean, there are lots of ways that we kind of expose ourselves to to be a part of this society. Some people choose to show off their bodies, and some people choose to show off their minds, and some people seem to be okay with showing off their lack of um, any sort of ability to think things through. Um, and that's a whole different segment, I think. But as I thought about this, and I thought about the fact that you know in this past year or so, past 12 months, I'd say, Sports Illustrated definitely has done some interesting things with their cover models, and in a way, I just kind of think I I kind of thought it was a little um, ironic, maybe that's the word, that these people that they have chosen for their cover could be made to look like something specific that guys want to see on the cover of this magazine, but in reality, they were not at all what these guys would have wanted um, in real life. Um, and I'm talking about trans models and things like that, because the kind of guys and I'm going to say this very generally. I know people are probably going to be upset with me if anybody listens. So that's the luxury I have of nobody listening to my podcast, is that nobody really cares what I say. So I can't make too many people angry because the few that will listen probably agree with me. so, so I guess that's the luxury of having a small audience, and I'm grateful for you. Um, when you put, and I'm just going to say this, I think that um, all people deserve respect, and they deserve to be loved as God's children. I do believe that. I do believe that some people are hurt, and some people have developed um, a real issue around their gender identity and understanding what it means to be a woman or what it means to be a man. And I think it's because our society is so messed up that we haven't given the proper role models. Um, we haven't put the right things out there for people to latch on to. And I think that that is coming through in this rampant uptick in people choosing to go and try to be a different gender than what they were born as, and things like that. And I know people will not agree with me. That's fine. Don't agree with me. I feel that God made a man, God made a woman. And when we try to go against that and change it to something that it's not supposed to be, that we are kind of slapping God in the face, or just not respecting Him, and I don't like that. Um, I always choose to respect what God has designed over what man designs, and I think that we have a lot of people who are um, not taking that seriously, so that they can comfort themselves and do the things that make them feel okay, whether that's because of some dysfunction that's occurred in their lives, or some other thing. I don't know. I don't know each individual person who has gone through this. I don't know everybody's situation. I cannot judge a person for their choices because I have not walked in their shoes. I'm not condoning certain behaviors. I certainly don't condone the things that I know God would say are wrong. The things that I know that it's in the Bible that it's wrong for us to do. Um, but we all have things that we do that are not 100% biblical, and I don't care who you are. Everybody falls short. It's just the way it is. We are not God. But I think that when you have society that looks at the cover of a magazine to determine a woman's worth or value based on how she looks in a bikini, that you kind of have it coming. Um, when you finally start putting men on the cover of this magazine, and you have made them appear in the way that a woman would appear, and they're dressed up and they look exactly the same on the outside, it certainly speaks a whole lot to me about what we're valuing in people. That superficial outside layer of us that people latch onto, and they have no desire to get to know who we really are on the inside. Um, and I think there's a lot to that I can't unpack in a short podcast, obviously. Um, so I've always been very, very much against just judging something by its wrapping, you know, um, judging something by its outside appearance, because truly, I've met people and I've thought I'm not going to like this person just because of the way they look, because I had a preconceived idea of what type of a person they were going to be simply because of their outward appearance, because that's all you have to go on when you first meet somebody. There is no way to automatically know that that person is going to be very, very different from what they might look like on the outside until you take the time to speak to them and get to know them. So I think we need to give each other lots of grace and stop acting as though it's possible to understand every nuance of a person's character and every bit of their personality without having had a conversation with that person, or 10 conversations with that person, or interactions with that person that show you this is how they act in this situation, this is what they believe, this is what they execute, this is the action they take when they're put in this situation. You don't know that about somebody until you've spent time with them, until you've actually taken the time to know them as a person and understand what motivates them to do the things that they do, or to even know what they do. So, you know, I think when people get upset over silly things, and I'm going to say it is silly, when you get upset with somebody over something like misgendering you, or maybe thinking that you're this type of person when you're not, even though you clearly dress the part of being this way, what are we supposed to go on? What is a person supposed to draw from if they've not had an opportunity to meet you? Your instant um, uh, reaction when you see someone out as a person, and depending on where you come from as a person, you're going to have different triggers and different things that you look for just for self preservation, just in terms of making sure that you're safe in your interactions with people. I know as a single parent, when I would go out into the community to go to the store with my daughter, I put the radar on and I look around. Is there someone over there that looks like they might have a weapon? Is this person look safe? How far away from people do I need to stay? How close can I get? Are we in a safe environment? That kind of thing. And you never know who is going to be a threat, if at all. In our society today, the strangest things happen, and things that weren't threatening before somehow are a threat, and things that we would have seen as a threat before are not a threat at all, but they're could be your biggest advocate. So we really need to stop this thing where we look at someone and we determine, without investing any time or any getting any education about it, we need to stop doing that. We need to stop saying that that's a bad person without having taken the time to really delve into who they are, and what they do, and what we know of them. I mean, it's counterproductive. And for someone who has any level of intelligence, it's it goes against everything that you know in your subconscious, and in the back of your mind, you know that it's wrong to do that. So, and I trust me, I am not someone who is. Um, I'm not big on the whole DEI culture and all of that stuff. I believe the best way to treat people is talk to them, get to know them. If there's aggression that comes toward you, step back, move away from it. But if they're open to having a dialogue with you, continue to talk. And then you can both get an idea of whether or not, you want to have any kind of relationship with each other based on that interaction. And the really cool thing is, we don't have to have a relationship with each other if we don't want to. If you talk to somebody and you invest a little time in that, and you figure, we don't really have a lot in common, we don't really see things eye to eye, our priorities are different, our moral backgrounds are different, that kind of thing. I don't have to like you, but as my fellow human being, as a fellow child of God, I love you because you're His creation, and I know that He has faith in you, And the degree to which you have faith in him will determine, where you go with him. So I think that's all we can hope for. So back to the idea of Sports Illustrated making these bad decisions about their cover models. Well, in my opinion, it's always been a bad decision to have the flagship of your magazine be scantily clad human beings, whether they're women, men who are, presenting as women, or otherwise. It's never a good idea to have that as the focus of what you do. Um, Not real sure what the motivation was. Not sure if they were trying to first portray athleticism as the thing, and that was the best way to do it, I guess. Um, but I would much rather, if it's a book about sports, put some sports on the cover. Don't don't just put bikini clad women up there. It's what sport is that? So I just want to know, what sport does that represent? I don't think it. I don't think it really does. I think that was just gratuitous, and I don't like it, and I think it devalues us. So that's what I think. But all along I've been thinking, how does that impact me, and why is that important? And um, I certainly believe that yes, they need to reorganize, they need to restructure, and they need to really look at what their mission, vision, and values are. Um, what what is it that you're hoping to accomplish with your magazine, and how can you best portray that without dehumanizing people to the point where they're just an objectifiable persona of something, and they don't even have to be a person, because that sort of thing perpetuates these superficial encounters that people have that cause them to hold on to resentments for people that don't look like them, instead of getting to know people who may not act exactly like them but probably think on many levels similarly or along the same lines, as they do. But you would never know that if you're just judging the package. So, um, boy, that opens up like so much for me that I could talk about. And I know that it's all touchy and everybody gets bunched up over it. And, I don't care. If you don't like talking about things honestly and really having a dialogue about some of the things that are wrong with our behaviors in our society today, then that's part of the problem. If we can't talk about it honestly, if it all has to be somebody's canned response to, we have to say it this way, and we have to include this, and we have to include that, and we can't be this way, and we can't be that way, we have to be extra sensitive to everything that's going on, but not sensitive because it makes sense to be sensitive, because it's an ego driven sensitivity. Um, I'm not for that. I don't have time for that. I think that's ridiculous, and I'm an adult. You're an adult, hopefully. I don't know if you are. Um, if you're not, you're going to be an adult someday. If you're a kid who's listening to this, I doubt that you are. Um, but we need to grow up collectively and start acting like the human beings that God created us to be. He has no tolerance for this kind of stuff, I'm sure. And I really think it probably grieves him to see how stupid we act sometimes in these situations. So, um, hopefully this makes sense to someone. I don't know. I can go off on many tangents when it comes to this particular topic, but I'm going to keep it right there and hope that I can salvage some of this. I did not get cut off this time, so that's good. Um, and I will be back on Friday with more. Don't know what the topic will be. It just really depends on what comes into my field of vision and what makes sense to talk about. So, But in your interactions today and always, I encourage you to think about whether or not you're approaching people from a place where you're willing to get to know more about them, or if you are looking at someone and deciding on the spot that they fit this prescribed picture of who you think they are. If you have poor opinions of people because of who they support politically, that kind of thing, where is that coming from? Who's put this in your head that you have to hate each other? Because you don't, you know, and that's definitely a topic that I need to talk about later. But you see someone over here dressed in baggy clothing or has a lot of tattoos and piercings and stuff. Don't be afraid to have conversations with people who don't look exactly like you. Um, you are really cutting yourself off from good people. A lot of the time, it's just a matter of, you know, getting to know who we are and understanding that everybody comes from a very different experience. Everybody's been through different things, and we all are God's kids, and we need to be better to each other. I hope you have a great day and a great rest of your week. And if you dare come back and listen again, I will have more to say, I'm sure. So, thanks again for stopping in. I will talk to you next time. God bless. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to check out our website and blog. The blog is at www.leading-the-follower.com. Thanks and God bless.